Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be explaining a problem which I've come across in many different athletes at many different clubs over the years, and hopefully through this video I'll be able to give you, whether you're a gymnast or a coach, the tools and the knowledge to prevent this problem or rectify this problem going forwards into the future. Now, the problem that I'm talking about is when you or somebody that you coach has learnt a front half twist or a barani, and it seems to be going quite well, going fairly easily, so they then move on to a front full twist, and instead of twisting all the way around, they end up twisting back on themselves, and they're not really sure why. So I want to talk about that. In any successful twisting skill, you obviously have to be twisting in the same direction in any one given flight phase. Otherwise, it is going to be biomechanically impossible for you to move on to multiple twisting elements. When you twist back on yourself like this, it's technically not even a full twist because you've done 180 degrees in this direction and 180 degrees in this direction, which cancels out to 0 degrees of rotation rather than 360. There are potentially lots of different reasons why this issue could arise, but in my experience, 99% of the time, this happens because the gymnast has learnt to do their front half twist incorrectly or poorly. Now, it might be that their coach has taught them to do it badly, and in that case, shame on the coach, they need to learn to do it better. But I think in most instances, the coaches know best and they know how to teach the twisting correctly, and this kind of problem only really happens when gymnasts attempt to teach the skill to themselves. The gymnast may see somebody else doing a front half twist and decide to give it a go when their coach isn't watching, or try and work on it at home and end up learning it the wrong way and getting into bad habits. To the untrained eye, a front half twist or a barani looks very, very similar to a roundoff, but obviously without putting their hands down. So for an unexperienced gymnast, they will take the roundoff, which they already know how to do, and they will build upon that to learn the front half twist, because that's obviously a lot easier in their mind than learning it from scratch, which is what you should do. They will jump from 2 feet and do a high roundoff. They might put their hands down a few times when they're first trying it, just out of habit, but then eventually they'll learn to do it without the hands and they'll get their front half twist. After a few sessions of doing this, it will start to become quite easy and quite natural to them, so they'll think, hey, I think it's time to move on to the full twist. And at this point, they will most likely end up twisting back on themselves, and they'll get frustrated because they won't understand why they're not able to move on to the full twist. The problem here is that this round-off style twist is actually completely different to a regular front half twist. Some gymnasts or gymnastics coaches might refer to this round-off style twist as a barani, but that's actually an incorrect label. A barani is essentially exactly the same as a front half twist. It is just trampolining terminology, whereas gymnasts call it a front half. In trampolining, the barani is taught exactly the same way as a front half twist in gymnastics, and when it's performed, it's essentially the same. The only real difference is that trampolinists tend to do a slightly more exaggerated kick out, because obviously they have the luxury of extra airtime. But in trampolining, it is still desirable to kick out and twist at the top of the element rather than twisting earlier, which is what gymnasts seem to think a barani is. I'm fairly sure that the confusion arises from the fact that some Americans refer to a roundoff with no hands as a brandy, which obviously sounds fairly similar, but a barani and a front half is exactly the same thing. To avoid any confusion, in this video from now on I'm going to refer to them simply as a front half and a roundoff style twist. Let me demonstrate why and how the roundoff style twist is so different to a regular half. In gymnastics, I am a lefty, so everything that I'm going to demonstrate from here on out in the video is going to be performed on the left. I twist to the left and I do cartwheels and roundoffs with my left foot forwards. Here is a standing half twist jump. As I turn around and I am in mid-twist, I will turn to the left away from the camera and you will see my back. Here is a regular front half twist. Now you can tell that this is also twisting to the left, as you also see my back as I begin to turn. Now, interestingly, if I start facing the same way but do a round-off instead, you will see my chest as I turn round, which means that even though I started with my left leg forwards, the element is actually twisting in the opposite direction. Finally, the roundoff style half twist is going in the same direction as the roundoff and the opposite direction to the regular front half twist, because again you can see my chest as I go over rather than my back. Compare the two and observe how, to the untrained eye, they look fairly similar, but actually they twist in opposite directions. The reason for this is that when doing cartwheels or roundoffs, you turn immediately, whereas with a proper aerial half twist, you initiate the twist midway through the skill, so the mechanics and the orientation of it are quite different. This goes to explain why a gymnast might accidentally twist back on themselves when trying to do a front full twist if they learnt their half twist as a roundoff style twist. They will do their half twist and then they will logically try to complete the twist by twisting in their natural twisting direction, but obviously that will be in the opposite direction to the first half twist. 9 times out of 10, it is the first half twist which is going in the wrong direction rather than the second half twist. This concept also goes to explain why in half on half off or kazamatsu style vaulting skills the gymnast appears to change twist direction as they make contact with the vault and block off. Now, this is because the entry is a round off, but as they block off and go into the air it turns into an aerial twist, so it will change directions. For most people this would be true, but some gymnasts are slightly different. Some gymnasts will round off on their right leg and twist to the left, or round off on their left leg and twist to the right. Now intriguingly, if you think about it, for these people their round off and their twist actually goes in the same direction. So in theory this going back on themselves twisting problem should never really occur. They can however come to grief if their coach tells them that during their vault they should be twisting off in the opposite direction. Because for this person, they won't go in the opposite direction as they twist off the vault, but the whole thing will go in the same direction. If they aim to twist off the vault in the opposite direction, then they will end up twisting in the way that is not natural for them. So there's no need to overcomplicate these vaulting skills. As far as I'm aware, there is no judging deduction for the skill twisting the same way the entire way around, so there's no need to overcomplicate it. If you're coaching these skills, just ask the gymnast to do the round off onto the vault the way they normally round off, and then twist off the vault the way that feels most natural to them. With this information in mind, it should be fairly easy to rectify or prevent this problem in the future. You just have to make sure that when you are teaching or learning a front half twist, you never do it as a round off without hands, but teach it or learn it as a late half twist after a front somersault, and then gradually make the twist earlier and add more twists as you or the person you are coaching starts to get a little bit more comfortable with it. If you've seen this video a little bit too late and you or somebody you teach already does the round-off style twist, then you will have to completely rework that twist if you want to move on to front full twists and 1.5 and moving onwards from that. It will be quite a long and frustrating process, but with patience it's definitely doable. Thank you very much for watching and listening to my little video. I hope that you learnt something and that you enjoyed watching it. If you've got any questions or suggestions, please feel free to drop me a comment below, and I'll see you guys next time.